Yeah. Good evening, everybody. This is Pradeep, Ambassador of Change from GETI, Lucknow. And we are once again, we will be on this format of ours of disruptive education, which has been provided to us by Dr. Sunita Gandhi, and we are very, very grateful to her of GETI. And we've had more than 400 speakers on this, and from India and all over the world. And this is where we meet eminent educationists from all over the world and from India. And today we have for you Ma'am Beena Rao. She's an education consultant and owner of the Beena Rao Consultancy in Bhatinda, Punjab. She has 35 years experience in education as a teacher, principal, director of schools, and she has a certification as a teacher trainer from Finland. As in, she basically has gone in for startups and transformation of schools from a lower level to a higher level, and has won several national awards. She's passionate about quality in village and small city schools education. She's been principal of premier schools in Haryana and Punjab, and is the director of education in several schools. She's a project director with Gyan Manthan Education. She's the director with the Gyan Manthan Education Management Services and the chief advisor for the Cambridge International Schools and the Sanskar School in Punjab. So welcome, ma'am. And she will be speaking to us today on 21st century education skills. So thank you very much, ma'am, and over to you.
A warm good evening to one and all. I'm so privileged that today I've been invited to speak to you all on 21st century skills. First of all, I would like to start today with a kudos to teachers, salam teachers, who've taken the onus and responsibility in this pandemic to be so good and so hardworking, as well as they're doing extremely smart work. Online classes were thrust on us and we didn't know what happened, especially we in smaller cities and in the rural area were not at all prepared for online education. But today, our teachers have done us proud. And when I speak of teachers, I speak of all the schools all across the world, actually. So kudos to all of us as educationists. So respect to all, respect to the education field. And we are so privileged that we are here today to speak on this topic which is very, very close to my heart, 21st century education. We are 20th century learners and teachers teaching 21st century educators. And are we equipped with the right skills is my question. We are not. Most of the schools are not equipped with the right skills to teach 21st century learners, because 21st century learners, my dear, are different, are absolutely different from what we were in the 20th century. Gone are the days when we were doing rote education, learning, writings, doing examination. Now it is all 4 C's, the 5 C's actually, not the 4 C's, but the 5 C's. Collaborative learning, where we are learning together. Communication, where we convey our ideas and we involve each other and work together. Effective communication. Creativity, that's a very, very important skill. And that is thinking out of the box. And last but not the least, we have critical thinking, where we are always problem solving, which leads to decision making. So these are the skills that we really require to stress on for our children. And last but not the least, but how can I forget that we need to be computer literate also, very savvy on the machine in today's day and age to take it forward. So, starting today, the first skill, like I'm a teacher at heart and I'll always be a teacher. For me, today is a classroom. And how do we go about it? The five skills. So, the first one that we would be talking about would be collaborative learning. What is collaborative learning? What, how, and why of collaborative learning? What is it exactly? It is learning together. How can we teach our children to learn together? It's very easy to learn alone, but when we have a team, when we have to work together with a team, and if from the beginning only, from the pre-primary level, we stress on teamwork, group work, like we do on in the sports field, in the classroom also, definitely our children will learn better. Because working alone is easy, but working together is tough. So if we train them for collaboration and when we have a common goal, it is not an individual goal which will become important, but the common goal, the team's goal will be important. Each and everyone's idea will be respected. We teach them respect for each other. We teach them how to grow together. We teach them how to work together. Man is a social animal, and it is so important that in a classroom we build up a good team with collaborative skills and students learn how to work effectively with different groups of people. Today's society is multicultural, multilingual, so we need to respect each and every person and each and everybody's but his ideas as well as skills and the caliber. So, this is what collaborative learning is. It makes a child flexible, willing to compromise with team members to reach a common goal. And it also demonstrates responsibility of a team member working towards a shared goal. Shared responsibility and a shared goal is very, very important when we deal with collaborative learning. And it helps the students also to understand how to address a problem, pick solutions, and decide the best course of action. So, my dear, we must remember that collaborative learning is the first most important skill that students should learn while we stress on 21st century education. Students learn when they should speak up and when they have an idea. So it becomes very, very important for us to train our teachers and train our students for collaborative learning. It is not a one way traffic, it is working together, working towards a shared goal and a shared responsibility. So collaboration is very, very important. So please remember that working together is what we need to do today. We need to work with each other. So it's very, very important. The next skill that we talk about is creativity. A lot of people come and ask, we are born creative. We can't, creativity is inborn. But I fail to this. I don't agree with them because creativity can be taught also. You can be creative out of the box. Small, small things can make you creative. Creativity doesn't mean that we paint a beautiful masterpiece or we are the best dancers or the best musicians or the best writer. It means we can sustain our living and we are creative in our ways. India is known for Jugaad. So Jugaad is creativity. So this is how it is out of the box thinking. And out of the box thinking is what is needed today. If the pandemic is here, if we don't think out of the box, how will we succeed? We all sitting at home, but we all doing our work too. So it is all out of the box thinking. It brings into existence something which was not there before. 10 years back, what was right is not right today. So we create, we innovate. Innovative thinking leads to creativity. We innovate, we create, we come up with new ideas, we bounce ideas across each other in collaborative learning, and we come up with a creative solution for many small, everyday, real life problems. And this is how we go about training our children from pre-primary level to class 12 when we say creativity. Creativity in everyday living where we find solutions to our problem. That's what creativity is all about. And if you could get it into the classroom, if you could get the real world into the classroom and take the tears out of learning, this is what our mission and vision is. Being creative and innovative. That's what is most important in today's world. And it is, teachers have to be very creative to get creativity into children. It is not boring. Children are so fascinated when you do something new. Every day you come up with a new idea, boom, the classroom goes, wow, this teacher is my favorite because she comes up with ideas and she takes ideas from us. We innovate, we create, and we come to a solution. Or we create something new, and that's what creativity is all about. So, my dear, I always say my dear teachers because I'm basically a teacher trainer, or my dear students, this is, or my dear parents, this is what we should inculcate in our children and imbibe in them the qualities of creativity. Creativity can be in any small thing. When we make palak paneer also, it is very creative. How do we make it? So any way we go, we take in any field, we have to be creative today. Because without creativity, without new ideas and newness in our daily life, we will not be able to exist. Life will be very boring. Life will be very monotonous. And today's children, especially, do not like being monotonous, do not like anything boring. They want something new. So teachers have to be very, very careful that what do they get to the classroom. So it's very important that we come up with unique ideas, diverse perspective. We're not restricted by rules, customs, or norms, and we go the creative way. So the second skill is very important because we create leaders and not followers. We create people who want to think, create thinkers. Think is what we should put up in our school every time. We thinking skills are very, very important also to develop creativity. So be creative, be innovative, engage your students in new ideas, in unique ideas, and it could be a process or a thought. It could be make them thought leaders, make them influencers, make them anything that they want to be. Let's not restrict them to our own ideas. Let's get their ideas into the classroom and let's make learning fun. Because when we learn with fun and we create a happy atmosphere in a class, a creative and a happy classroom zooms and it booms. And when it zooms and booms, all of us are happy. We are enthusiastic. We want to go to that class and we want to be able to come up with our new ideas. We're always thinking, children are always thinking, I'll give a new idea to my teacher and she'll be so happy with the ideas that we are coming up with. So, in fact, creativity works best with combined with other 21st century skills. How do we combine them? An essential aspect of creativity is not being afraid to fail. You know, today, when I read a resume, when I'm doing interviews, if somebody tells me I came up with a new project, ma'am, but it didn't succeed, we all look at him differently. We all look at her differently. Because when we have the ability to try something new, we may fail or we may succeed. That does not matter. What matters is that we had the ability, we had the will to take up a risk, and we had the courage to take up a risk. And if it works, wow. If it doesn't, then failures are only stepping stones to success. So don't be afraid to be creative. The third skill that we talk about as a 21st century learner is communication and effective communication. We need to communicate ideas quickly and clearly. We cannot be vague. As educators, we have to be very clear and precise in our thinking. I always tell teachers to take up the 5P plan: perceive, plan, present, perform, and that leads to progress. So it's very, very important for us to mind map, plan, and be very clear in our communication, verbal and non-verbal. The point of communication is that you convey your ideas in such a manner, or you convey your thoughts in such a manner that is easily understood, not difficult at all. Communication should be clear, precise, easy. आसान है, हमें आजकल सब कुछ आसान बनाना है, आसान है कि हम क्लियर कम्युनिकेशन दें. So it's very important that non-verbal and verbal communication is communicated to our children, to our teachers, to our parents in a very, very clear and precise manner. How do we do it? We consider the objective. We are sincere in what we want to convey. We use simple language and familiar words. We are brief and precise and to the point. We assume nothing that they know it all. We assume nothing. We have to be careful that whatever we are conveying, it's not misunderstood. We use polite words and tone. The tone and tenor of our communication has to be very, very polite, because the magic words that we teach from pre-primary onwards, we have to learn throughout our life. What are the magic words? Please, thank you, forgive me, excuse me. Be polite in your way, in your demeanor, in your body language. Be welcoming in your body language. As teachers, we have to be approachable in our body language. Always say something pleasing and interesting. Make the children feel that they are the best. Make them feel, motivate them, inspire them with your communication. When we communicate with the children, we should be positive. Positive is one word which is used very, very frequently. But what exactly is positivity? It is a feel good feeling that we are the best. If we tell our children, I approve of myself. Look into the mirror every morning and just say, I am the best. And as a class, when we say, we are the best, we become the best. Because the best don't do anything wrong. The best always do everything right. They don't hurt people, they don't harm people, and they don't do anything that would be destructive. They're always constructive. So if we say, I approve of myself, we, we teach our children, or we inspire our children, or we motivate our children to be empathetic, to be there for each other through their rightful communication, through effective communication, simple words, simplicity in communication, simple language that is easy to understand. As well as when we are communicating, we must have respect for all languages, and we must have respect for all people, because non-verbal communication is where we show respect for people. Our actions speak louder than our words. So please be careful how you convey anything. And another point I would like to raise out here, as teachers especially, let's respect each other, respect our colleagues, and parents always respect the school. Because when you're sending a child to the school, you have trusted the school, and the school stands for you, and you stand for the school. So let's take the extra initiative that we will never ever be disrespectful to the school, and we in school will never be disrespectful to the teacher, to the parents, because you at home and we in school, when we get together and join hands, we come to a common goal, and that is our child. And when we communicate with each other through any form of communication, it has to be respectful, it has to be easy, it has to be sincere, so that the child also learns that my school is to be respected, my classroom has to be respected, my class teachers have to be respected. So parents, if you have any problem, we are all human beings. Teachers can make mistakes, parents can make mistakes. So when the teacher conveys her feelings to the parents on PTMs or open house meetings, we have to be respectful. And when parents convey any complaints to the principal or to the teachers or to the coordinator or talk about the school, please do not use words, your child is listening. And if the child does not have faith in the school, does not respect the school or the teachers or the principal, just one comment from the parent or in the public can prove to be very detrimental for the child's, because when we believe in our school, we believe in the ethos of the school, only then can we flower. So my dear parents and my dear teachers, effective communication to students, parents and teachers and to the community at large is very, very important in this 21st century skill. We are all online. What we write online stays with us forever. We have to be very careful how we communicate, because that is exactly what it's all about. If I communicate well, only then will the receiver take it well. If I communicate badly, if I'm vague, it leads to confusion, confounded. And that's not what we are looking for. What we are looking for is clarity, precision, and we are looking at definitely clear messaging. A clear message goes, and that's what effective communication is all about. In the classroom, the children at times, if they are online, they are texting. Teachers can help students make connections, good connections with each other, and teach them the right way to go. Let's not hurt anybody, let's not talk badly about anybody, and let's be respectful in all our communication. So effective communication and the right way to speak. Let's take in Mahatma Gandhi's three bandhas. What did Mahatma Gandhi tell us? Think right, speak right, do right. So, effective communication is all about that. So, my dear parents, teachers, and students, let's all remember that 21st century is all about communication. It's not only about speaking, it's about written communication, non-verbal communication, and which is very, very important, because we cannot convey something which is not right. And it goes online and it's done. It can never be revoked, even if you delete it. Once it's gone, it's gone. So, to build effective communication skills, students must learn. And where do they learn? They learn at home and they learn in school. So, we in school and you at home, my dear parents, together, let's build a better world by effective communication and the right way to communicate. Now, I come to critical thinking. Critical thinking is a skill which many of us don't know about. What is critical thinking? It leads to decision making, it leads to problem solving. You know, from the very beginning, if in our school ethos, curriculum, and culture, we start with critical thinking and we tell our children to think and then do their work. Think clearly, think effectively. It's very important. We give them small, real life situations which they have to handle on their own. In pre primary, it can be something as small as, what do you want in your tiffin? What are you going to wear in the evening once you come back from school and you change out of your uniform? Where do you want to go on a Sunday? What do you want to do? Can you make a program for yourself? Can you make an inventory? Can you make a can you go ahead and tell us what you want to do? So they make their own decisions about the day, how they want to begin, what they want to do, what role do they want to play in the family and in school. So if we give them the onus and responsibility for decision making, we're giving them small ideas and small decisions to be made. It may be, what time do you want to get up in the morning on a holiday? It can be anything. And that leads to a lot of responsible decision making when we grow up and we become older and we have to make decisions in this world. It leads to problem solving. I would like to share with you that I, till today, cannot sign a check. because nobody taught me how to do that. I am so nervous when I go to the bank or if I have to do any banking because it wasn't done. So we have to get the real world into our classrooms. And critical thinking is all about decision making, teaching them how to go about doing real life, dealing with real life situations. And when they're dealing with real life situations, they have to decide. So problem solving and decision making is one important skill when we are looking at critical thinking. CBSE is also stressing a lot upon critical thinking, and so is the new education policy. So when we make a school curriculum and we make a school ethos, let critical thinking be one of the main skills that we look at when we look at our children. It's very, very important for teachers and us to remember that critical thinking is when you train the children to think critically, to make their own decisions, solve their own problems, and go ahead in life to become leaders, innovators, creators. And this also leads to creativity. So all these skills are intermingled and they are definitely what we should be looking at. So, when we do critical thinking, it leads to skills such as comparison, it leads to classification, sequencing, cause and effect. If I do this, it will cause dash, 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 and the effect of it would be something. If I say something hurting to somebody, what can happen? It will stop the child from hurting anybody, writing anything which would hurt somebody. It also leads to a lot of innovation, and it also is it also gets a lot of innovativeness into the classroom. So, my dear parents, teachers, as well as school administrators, let's look at critical thinking as one very important skill that we need. Spend time online effectively simply by asking why in everyday life. Peer learning, it's so important in critical thinking. This is the most important outcome of critical thinking is peer learning. When we learn together, then we can see that it spreads to the peers also. So it's very, very important. It is important to develop this skill because it empowers students to separate fact from opinion and discover the truth in assertions. So it's very, very important to train our children for critical thinking. It prompts them to ask questions and questions and questions. We can have a question hour one day in the classroom and we can tell them to ask as many questions as they want because the more they inquiry based learning is all about asking questions. The more they ask questions, the more they think, and the more they think, the more they do, and the more they can take the right decision by thinking right. So these skills are very, very important. These four skills work together. And how do they work together? When we teach collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, they're not new concepts. In fact, they're many old concepts. And most teachers aspire to teach them in a manner which incorporates all these strategies. So, dear teachers, when you are teaching, apply yourself and plan ahead when you go in for all the four C's when you work together. So this all these four C's, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and the rightful communication are equally important. And they're interlinked, they're not separate. They're all integrated into classroom and in schools for effective teaching. If we teach today's children as we taught yesterday, we rob them of tomorrow, is what John Dewey said. And that's what we need to learn. What was right 10 years back cannot be right today. So every day, at the click of a button, everything is changing. Change is inevitable. So when we change, there is a need to change. We have to change our thinking. We have to we have to relearn. We have to forget what we learned and we have to relearn. If we want to become 21st century teachers, we have to relearn and we have to learn how to teach the children in the right manner we are 28th century learners and teachers, but we are teaching 21st century. This generation is different. This generation is absolutely different. So let's ponder on the fact that everybody can learn from the past. Today, it is important to learn from the future also. And this was said by Herman Khan. So let's remember that it's important to learn from the future also. So today is very, very important. If we make today right, especially in these pandemic times, then definitely our classrooms will be booming with energy. We'll have enthusiastic, energetic students who would always want to be creative and innovative and go ahead and create a world which is a happier world than what we are giving them. So, my dear, last but not the least, the skill that I would like to add is computer literacy. When the pandemic started, we all were not computer. We were all not computer literate, especially in smaller towns and cities. So it's very, very important for us to pick up computer literacy. It's very, very important for us to be media information is what we learn from the internet, how to use the internet, how we can benefit our children from the internet, because our children are very good with the computers. We also have to become equally good. If we want to teach them, we have to become computer literate and computer savvy. So these are the 5 skills that I feel are very, very required, that we go ahead with these 5 skills, that we need our classrooms to be creative, to be innovative, to have critical thinking, and to go ahead and make our children 21st century learners with a difference. So, 21st century learners who are innovative and creative will definitely make a better world. And if there are any questions, I hope whatever I said goes resounds with people, and we make 21st century classrooms which are no tears in our classrooms anymore, which are booming with energy, booming with enthusiasm, and booming and zooming together. So here I am, Beena Rao, looking for some questions from Mr. Pradeep.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very, very comprehensive talk on the 21st century education skills that all teachers and educators and principals, as well as the students, have to acquire, especially, of course, the parents and the teachers. And I would like to now, while thanking you, round off this webinar that we've had with again a very special word of thanks to Dr. Sunita Gandhi. We at GETI have all-round solutions for schools, assessments, curriculum, and training, especially training. And I could empathize a lot with what Madam Beena Rao said today about peer education, etc., because we are very much into all this creativity, etc. All the recent thinkers, and of course, adapted to COVID. It's very, very important. COVID has taught us a lot. It has changed the entire scenario in the future. We'll never go back to that older kind of education. And computer education, online education will certainly be very, very important. Something which Madam Rao told us about, and something which she correctly pointed out, we need to have and we need to educate ourselves on. In fact, we are doing it ourselves. I am doing it, Madam Rao is doing it. We are all educating ourselves on these online apps and gadgets, each one with its own plus points. So, Beena Rao, ma'am, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's been a pleasure. And I hope to meet you in person when this pandemic is over. So stay safe, stay blessed, and be careful. in this pandemic times. And kudos to all teachers, especially we as educationists really need to say, I started with salam teachers, I end with salam teachers because I'm a teacher first and a teacher last. So thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Inshallah, we shall meet